So when they would flash money at me, I'd be like, what you expected in return, you know? So I looked at that as kind of insulting. Like, you know, that's what you think of me, that you could buy me. I'm like, yeah, honey, I'm not affordable. You know,
I bought you
with your charm, honey, with your charm.
I own you.
Oh boy,
Here we go.
Right?
I mean, we have this conversation all the time because when you take somebody's last name, that means possession.
Okay.
I mean, you can disagree, but did your dad pass you off to Ariel? Did an uncle? Did a man pass you off when you got married?
No, my dad's passed away.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So my mom did.
Okay,
but yeah.
But what is the symbolism of that ritual? Is I'm passing my daughter off to you for protection, and she
I get
leaves
it.
her.
I understand what you're
I mean,
saying.
she owns me. I'm indebted to her, but I throw that at her because
I got some debts I need you to pay later.
I'm indebted to you, not in with you with your debt. It's a difference.
I mean, but he owns you and he owns your debt, so it's actually your debt.
I mean, if you want to word it that way, but it's true. It's the same thing. Ownership comes with responsibility, and if she wants to be owned, which she wants to be, then I take that responsibility. And that's what a lot of people in today's world don't understand. These kids that are dating don't understand. You think it's relationship, me and you, and you know it's gonna work out. But I'm teaching my sons that the only way to be a real man is you got to put your feelings aside and take care of her needs, and she'll in turn take care of yours. Right. That's the relationship. That's God's relationship with us.
It is.
And so if that's ever misconstrued, like, you know, the Bible does say that the woman is a gift. She is a gift, but it also says that he that finds a wife finds a good thing and has favor from the Lord. So when a man goes out and sacrifices a single life, he wants the favor of God on his life. But woman was made for the man, so you got to understand both dynamics. Y'all got quiet on that one. They didn't move on that one.
I think it's the ownership word, and that kind of pushes me a little bit too.
Well, like I said, she owns me just as much as I own her.
The Bible does talk about,
own.
You know, your body is not your own, you know, and vice versa. So that, I think that's where that kind of comes from.
Well, hold on. So let's go to that.
Yeah.
So me and Sherry counseled a couple, and the wife was basically like, I don't want him to touch me. Like, I don't want to have sex with him. And I asked her why. And she was like, well, he do the stuff to, you know, get on my nerves, and I just don't want to be touched, blah, 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 blah. And I said, do you know that your body does not belong to you? Well, that's what the Bible said. And I said, well, are you a Christian? And she said, yeah. I said, so you're supposed to believe in what the Bible says, right? And I asked her, do you know why your body is not your own? She didn't know why. Do you know why?
No.
Do you know why?
No.
As Christians, husbands are supposed to follow Christ.
Right.
The church is supposed to be like the wife. Christ gave his body for the church.
As a living sacrifice.
The church has to give his body in the last day to live for Christ in representation. So as married people, we have to understand that our bodies is not our own. Jesus gave his body for the church, but the church has to give his body for living for Christ. Same thing in the marriage. We don't see it like that, but ownership, and I know I said it to be cause some problems, but no, it's ownership. And I'll just be honest with you, there have been nights I was dead dog tired, and my wife came in and she took advantage of me. And I'm being serious. And it started with don't, and I would say stop, and I would say don't. Stop, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop.
Next thing you know, telling me not to stop.
Right. She's like,
don't stop,
right.
Stop.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Then he woke up with his underwear around his ankles.
I told you to stop telling my personal business on this podcast.
Oh, man.
No, it's a true story. It's a true story. I was like, how did we get down there? Like, and she woke up with a smile. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. But no, it's not ownership in a way that I'm like a slave owner and she has to be my slave.
Right, because that is, and I almost want to look up the definition of ownership. You know what I mean? Because it feels like property to me. And
it is property,
right? But it's not. We're not chattel property.
I didn't say chattel property.
Yeah.
It is property because you pay a dowry. You're supposed to pay a dowry for your wife to the husband, and the wife is supposed to repay with her virginity. You both give up.
Is that Bible? Or is that's biblical? That's something else.
Okay, so this is
that's the history of marriage.
I don't know about the dowry in the Bible.
The dowry is what is okay. So I can't think of his name. Who worked 7 years for Rachel?
That was Moses.
No,
I mean
Jacob. No,
yeah. Seven on top of 7 years.
7 on top of 7. He worked.
That was Jacob.
It was Jacob. That was the dowry.
Right.
And so
because he didn't have money, he had to go work. Right.
So in exchange for the dowry, it's called the marriage bed. After they consummated the marriage, there was supposed to be some fluid on the sheets to show that she was a virgin. If those sheets didn't come back,
right,
then it shows that she was not pure. So the dowry is something that you pay. Jesus paid a dowry for his church,
right,
his life. We have to give our life back for him in exchange for the relationship. So ownership is a key because Christians are followers of Christ. We give up our followers. Life. We lose our life.
We sacrifice. Is it ownership? I don't know.
I'm with you. I'm like, I don't think nobody owns anybody. We're all our own person.
Yes. You own me.
See where that hit came from? Y'all see that, right?
Now I own you. You own me.
Hold on.
Yes, sir, master. Yes, sir.
Well, that's what I say when I pay the credit card bill that you make after using my Social Security number.
Are we helping married people?
Right? What are we doing?
I'm just talking about my personal situation. We've been married 25 years, and I do not know her Social Security number.
Wow.
She knew mine before we started talking on the phone.
That's the first thing you memorize.
She said she did the background check. The background check definitely happened.
It was fine. All it was some tickets. Yeah.
Yeah. That word ownership for me is really strong. And I'm trying to think of like what is a synonym of ownership? I need to
possession.
Thank you.
Okay, right. Yeah. The act, state, or right of possessing something. I own her. And she owns me. She possesses all the goodness that Craig comes with that I bring into changing her life.
Yeah.
Okay. She owns that. No other woman in the world, except for my mama, has ownership for all this goodness.
Okay.
Is that right?
I'm not saying that to you, Tanya. No, I'm not saying I own you.
Listen,
I'm okay with that.
There's nothing wrong with being owned. Because you're owned.
I don't know. Do you really want somebody to own you?
I do.
Just your wife, in the biblical sense of just okay, gotcha.
I got businesses that own me. If I don't give them attention that ownership is possessing something. I possess a car that needs to be worked on that I could take it to the shop and pay for it. Or it's really responsibility.
When you own something, it gives you a certain amount of control over it. And I think that's
probably what it is.
That's in the negative because I don't manipulate or control my wife. When she wants to go on vacation and buy a boat, we buy a boat.
Right. Right.
When she want to come home with Falcon tickets and Brave tickets, I don't say nothing. She has the freedom to do whatever she wants to do.
Does she? She's
does.
on? Yes. Because I'm going back to the word control. That's probably what it is.
I don't see ownership has a positive and a negative.
Right.
Negative ownership says I control, I manipulate, I make you do what I want you to do. I do own her. There's some things that I have to lead her in, getting her to the place where she needs to be.
Right.
It's not in a negative. I don't beat her. I don't assault. Well, bedroom is different, but I don't force myself on her.
Right.
I say, hey, this is what we need to do. If she makes a different decision, then we got to deal with if the consequences come back good or come back bad.
So can we say that's just leading her?
No, ownership.
He's not gonna give up that word.
So if I have a headache, I got something for that.
I got something for that.
If I say my back hurts, I'm tired, I didn't get no rest,
something
I
for
got
that.
something
I got
for
something
that.
for that.
In other words, I own you.
I own it. And when your stomach was hurting 2 weeks ago, and I said I got something for that.
I got something for that.
Did it stop hurting?
Oh my goodness.
Did
Never
it?
a dull moment.
Did your stomach stop hurting? In the aspect of what I'm saying, ownership is responsibility.
I get it.
I've paid her debts off.
Mm-hmm.
I've paid her cars off.
Right.
I've worked on her properties. I've driven her. We got a 2-acre property in Missouri, and sometimes we got to check on it.
Mm-hmm.
We drive, It's not in my name. It's in her name.
Yeah.
But because I'm responsible for her, if I say, hey, we need to sell it or we need to look into building on it, then she has to consider that because she's my property just like I'm hers.
You see how he slips it in there really quick?
But it's the truth.
He'll be like, yeah.
Yeah. And
And
then it's
then
like,
he'll say something.
Nah. Just because y'all don't understand the Craigisms that I operate in, don't mean that the principles don't work. And I'll give you an example.
Not to cut you off, and get back to your example. I agree with your principles. I just need the words to change. I don't like the strongness of that, and I want to do the same thing for my wife, and I do.
You do.
I do that.
You own her like she owns you.
No. Back to your example. back to your example.
What is your faith?
I'm Christian.
So you are a follower of who?
Christ.
And you took his last name. Why?
Follower of Christ.
Why?
Yeah.
It was an option, right?
What do you mean?
Was it a choice becoming a Christian or an option?
It's definitely a choice.
It's a choice.
Yep.
So you chose to be owned or live your life under the principles and the standards of what Christ said to do.
I chose to follow Christ.
Same thing.
He leads me.
She has a choice to follow me, and I have a choice to follow her. It's ownership. It's responsibility.
Ownership.
Anyway, watch this.
That's good.
My wife tells me she wants a new ring. Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't understand the principle because women say diamonds are forever, right? So that little itty bitty diamond I gave you 25 years ago, it still should be relevant 25 years later, right? Because they're forever, right?
I still love it. I just
no, it should be
like another one.
It's
right. That one's still forever.
It should be on her ring, on her finger.
While it get replaced with a bigger one.
So we walk into a jewelry store and I'm against ownership and responsibility. Mm-hmm. She says, Craig, I want another ring. The ring she picked out, I didn't like. Okay. But she said she wanted it. So I bought it.
Yep.
We go back to the jewelry store weeks later and she said, well, let's go look at my ring that I want. And the ring was gone.
Because he had bought it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I said, well, guess I got to pick out another one. He was so mad. He was so mad. Because he had to take that one back.
You took it back?
I had to take it back. She said she wanted another ring and a more expensive ring.
Really? Because the first ring wasn't there.
It was. It was put up until it was time to pick it up.
Oh my goodness.
So she picks out a bigger ring,
okay.
A more expensive ring. And when you understand responsibility, I'm not talking slavery, I'm talking mutual ownership. That when my wife asks for something, I don't have to go digging her saying, oh, what am I going to do? When she asks for something, I go get it.
Right.
And so I got the ring. Then I surprised her with it. And ownership says you consider everybody that comes in line with your ownership. My kids. I own my kids. They own me. Daddy, I need some money. Daddy, I need to go to school. Daddy, I need this. The responsibility is I have to show them that I'm here for you.
Right.
I own you. When you get 18 and 21, you want to make your own decisions and you out the house, you own your own self. You responsible for your own self. Replace ownership and put responsibility.
I like
I
responsibility.
use ownership in a facetious way because it sparks conversation between people. And I will say this.
He's going to double down on that.
Yeah, he sure did.
I'll say this in a group of 10, 12 married people. And it's like the Twilight Zone. They be like this.
Got something.
He'll say it in front of people, like we'll be out in public. He'd be like, what you mean? I own you.
Yeah.
And everybody just stopping me.
Looking like, oh my God, are you okay?
Own her.
Slip her that number.
Right.
And then I'll
Call me.
I'll tell him.
I can help you.
I said, you don't own me. Look. And he'll be like, what's your last name? And I'll give him my maiden name.
And I tell her I own that too because it comes right before my name. But no, it's responsibility. And I'll give you another one. When you own the business, you take the greatest sacrifice.
Yes.
So my warehouse, I don't get paid from the warehouse because everything that comes out is still going back in it because it's a business. So it owns me to a certain degree. Whatever needs that business needs. We were paying for everything for cash for a while, and then we started using the credit card. So in like a month and a half, it was a $7,000 credit card because that's what the business needed.
Right.
I mean, we paid it off, but the thing of it is ownership goes both ways. And when you take the responsibility, my wife wanted a Mercedes Benz, and she found a Mercedes Benz that was like $15,000. And she's like, babe, I found a Mercedes Benz, and I'm a car guy, so I'm like, let's go look at it. She's like, it's a 2010.
It was just well kept. Like they kept it in the garage. They barely ever drove it. It was an older model, but I was just satisfied just having one.
Right.
So here were my no's. Number one, an old lady named Miss Gertrude owned that car. So you're gonna drive to the grocery store one day, and they be like, "There go Gertie right there," and you're gonna get out the car. Number two, it was a Mercedes Benz. It had like 15,000 miles on it.
Oh, yeah.
It was a 2010 and excellent condition. But one thing about those cars, they're made to be driven. Yeah. So if you don't drive it, stuff starts to rot, starts to crack. And I said, if you buy that car, well, it's been sitting up.
Yeah. Right.
If you drive that car, everything and his mama gonna go wrong with it in the first month.
Right.
So you're gonna spend no warranty.
Yeah.
I said, so you're gonna spend more, and it's a German car, so you gotta take it to a specialist. I said, no. I said, go find your Mercedes Benz that's within 2 years, that's still under warranty, that it has not been sitting in a.
But see, I was going to pay cash for that. Something newer, I was going to have a car note, right?
I said, your note, it's a business car, so write the note off.
It's truth. Yep.
So she ended up with a
2021, I think.
2021 Mercedes Benz with like 10,000 miles on it, still under warranty. Anything go wrong, you take it back. Miss Gertrude's car was gonna break down. Yeah, going to the bingo hall.
Bingo hall. That's what she automatically gonna start doing is old people stuff when you get an old car.
So the ownership.
Someone's gonna want to play bingo.
The ownership takes responsibility of what it possesses. Not in a negative, in a positive, because I want the best for her.
Right.
But who got to pick the car when it break down? Me.
Exactly.
So let's alleviate those problems. Let's alleviate anything that we don't have to. Now the other problem is that since she bought this 2020, she forgot where the kitchen was.
Oh man.
I said, babe, can you go to the kitchen? Huh? What? What's the kitchen? That place that you used to take the pots and pans and mix them and scratch them and make stuff?
Okay.
What is that? The kitchen, baby, the kitchen. So, you fair exchange. She got her Mercedes and then she forgot how to cook. But it's okay. But to answer your question, I did not want to see a picture of her. I did not see a picture of her probably for like 2 weeks.
No, I sent him a picture. He wouldn't send me a picture of him.
Oh.
But he told me I wasn't his type.
You weren't.
I told him he wasn't my type either.
Probably not.
I like the...
It's only one muscle you need over here, baby.
No.
Yep. That's it.
Right?
Get her to agree to it. That's hilarious.
You see, she's smiling. She can't even talk. She's thinking about it.
That's funny.
But no. So my dating experience, and listening to God was very different than what I had ever done.
Right.
This was somebody I married that I didn't get a chance to date. I didn't get a chance to sleep with before we got married, and try to put a relationship together based on what I thought a relationship was. It was really our conversation was really on God. And we actually fell in love with each other talking on the phone about God. And like I told you before, I didn't flirt with her until after we got married.
Right.
Not that I didn't compliment her. It's just I wasn't flirting. And then, you know, it's a different relationship.
Yeah, I believe it. So do you feel like principle wise, are you, and what advice would we give out there? Are we dating to marry?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay. In every single dating, whatever you do?
If you're over 21, your focus or goal is to find the person that you should be marrying. I wasted so many years dating people thinking that we were going to get married when God actually had somebody separate waiting on me to make the changes I needed to make to meet her where she was. That's the difference.
Okay.
And so when I got tired of making the same mistake over and over and over again, I went to God and said, all right, I want the wife you got for me.
Right.
Because I'm picking the wrong ones.
Same thing with me. Same exact thing.
Yeah.
I dated so many of the wrong guys, been brokenhearted, been betrayed, you know, gone through bad relationship after bad relationship. And I was at a point when I met him where I was like, okay, Lord, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
You know, I want who you have.
Yeah, you picked a lot of bad ones. True statement.
What about you, Tony? What are your thoughts?
Excuse me. Well, I feel like a lot of our dating years, because we did date for
A while.
a while. I guess at the when we met, I knew that I wanted to marry him, and him taking the time that it took, kind of just had me thinking like, okay, maybe it's not him. Like, I don't know, but I stayed around probably longer than most women would while we were dating. And I know why now, but at the time I didn't know. I was like,
yeah. But even throughout dating, I think, because I was still living by some good principles. I might not have had everything right. So there was some growth that happened over those years, spiritual, financial, and all that, which is one of the things I always thought of. You know, you can grow with somebody, but for me, I wanted certain things when I got married. Like, I was just like, nah, I want this. This has to happen for me. I want to be in the position to do this. I want to be able to give this and provide this. So that was part of my taking a while for me to get there too, is because I had that. And I'm not saying that's good for everybody, but that was my way.
Right.
That's what I was thinking.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because we all have our own wishes and desires that we want, or we think maybe perfection or to be perfect. Like men and people say, well, I want to make sure I have a house, white picket fence before we have babies.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, 9 months later, a baby comes, and
everything you about that house.
Right. You still ain't bought that house. And so sometimes there's a progression which we talk about as men growing and understanding. And, you know, everybody's different. I would not recommend anybody to meet and get engaged in 3 weeks, married. And I would not recommend it. Now, for me,
that's what happened.
That's what happened. I was able to pull it off. My story is a story that should encourage you to move toward marriage. But I've seen people that dated for years, got married, and within 10, 12 years, they were divorced.
Yeah. Right.
Where me and Sherry dated for 3 months, and it's been by the grace of God.
Right.
Got to put God in there. And, you know, I've met people, millionaires, doctors, and they're going through divorce, and they be like, "Well, Craig, what's the key to your success?"
Right.
And I'm like, if you didn't see God for the right one, if you're not seeking Him to fix it.
Yep.
I also think too, when we were dating at first, neither one of us were ready to be married.
Right.
So, well, he obviously wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to be married.
Mm-mm.
I didn't think it was going to be 3 months, but I was like, all right, God, I want the one you have for me, because I don't want to go through failure again and again.
Right.
Now, it wasn't a 3-month process. It was 3 months from the day we met, but I had been being prepared about a year prior to meeting her.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of fasting. I did a lot of discipleship groups. That was my counseling. That was my healing. It was some things I had to shed away. It was some things I had to grow in, mature in. I really had to learn to trust God in my desert experience, because I went cold turkey from dating to not dating to not doing things I was doing before. Like, I really said, if I was to go to a girl house, I can't go if the sun is going down.
Right.
I'm not going to dinner.
You're very intentional.
I had to be intentional, because all my fail points I kept seeing was the same thing. I kept failing at the same point. And I was like, all right, God, what do I need to do so I don't fail? Those same principles I have to operate off of now, being 25 years married, because your cheat meal, you always go back to, because that's the favorite meal that you like. When you're stressed out and you want to go eat ice cream, and you did that since you were a little kid, the longer you get married, when that temptation come up, you want to go right back to that. So it's still a continual fight every day. But you gotta go to God and tell God what you want. In going to God, He's going to give you what you ask for, or He's going to give you what you need.
Right.
But you have to sacrifice yourself, because just like your spouse is a gift, you're also a gift. And I've never seen a gift that was given that wasn't packaged nice. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Like, it's a nice package over
it's
here.
A nice,
Exactly.
Who gives a bad gift?
Not many people.
So if you're entertaining a relationship with somebody and you're not the best that you can be in God, you're giving a bad gift to somebody else.
Right.
That's a nice analogy.
Bad gift.
I got a gift for you later on tonight. I'll give you a good gift.
And with that.
No, I have a box in the car. I went shopping today. Y'all nasty. But watch this. The marriage bed is undefiled. We should be able to talk about and have a good conversation about it. I'm not using, not telling you what she pinched me with or nothing like that. I'm just
so crazy.
I'm not talking about hot candle wax and all that. I'm just saying
that, but what you were saying as far as the preparation that you had to go through before marriage, a lot of people don't take time to go through a preparation.
Right.
They just jump into relationship after relationship after relationship. Even me, before I met Craig, I went through a preparation where I was married to God. He was my husband, and He had to show me what being a wife really meant. He had to show me how to really love myself, and He had to show me my value, my worth. Because when you go into a relationship and you don't know who you are, you don't know your value, you don't know your worth, it's easy to get lost in that relationship.
Absolutely.
So there was so much that, that God had to do in me to prepare me for Him, before we ever even got married. And I think if I could share anything with the audience, it's to take that time for you to get to know you, to get to love you, to find out who you are, and what you like, what you don't like, that kind of stuff, so that when God does bring you whoever they have for you, you're ready for them.
Definitely. That's it for me. I think this has been a great conversation.
Okay. Do you want to continue? Do you want to move on
Next week?
Okay, let's continue next week. Let's do this. I want to invite you guys back next week. I want y'all to come back, and we did something different. We kind of said we're going to wear our jerseys today just to kind of represent who we are, and y'all have Brave jerseys on.
Yep.
You have Falcon jerseys on, and then everybody here. Where were you born?
I was born in New York.
Okay.
But I grew up in Atlanta.
Okay, so you're a peach.
Yes.
Okay, you take it. I'm not gonna lie. I will wear a Falcons jersey because I'm a Falcons fan.
There you go.
But that's the only thing Atlanta that I wear.
We'll get you
That's
some
kind
more
of weird.
Yeah.
How's it weird?
It's
It's not where you at. It's where you from.
I feel like the Braves and the Hawks are pretty good.
I'm glad that you have faith.
I mean,
in there.
I'm an Atlanta all Atlanta sports fans, but I'm just saying
I'm all.
you don't meet
LA.
a lot of people that
I can't.
that are Falcons fans that choose to be
That aren't even from Atlanta.
right.
It's frustrating sometimes.
Man,
Well,
it's hard.
Can I explain?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when I moved here in 2000, we didn't have cable. So the only channels we could watch were the on-air channels.
Yep.
And the only sports that I could connect with on Sunday was the Falcons that played at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And so it was like, all right, this football game is coming. I still didn't know none of the Falcon players. But
Mike Vick. Yeah. That's Mike Vick era. Yeah.
That's
So that
that's different.
that was
But
an exciting
Was
time.
Andre Rison still playing then?
I think he was gone.
I'm
by
sorry,
then.
did I say 90s? I meant 2000s.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's what I'm saying. Like 2001. That was
Yeah,
Mike Vick.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
he had an exciting season.
I had never really watched football before because LA didn't have a team when I moved here.
Yeah.
They
Rams
lost
already
both
lost.
yeah. Rams and the Raiders.
The Raiders.
Are gone.
Yep.
So I come here looking for something to do, and the only thing to watch on Sunday that made me,
No, we're gonna do our
it was
we're
the
gonna do our
Falcons.
football Sundays. Yep.
Yeah. So, but every other team, I'm a Dodgers fan, Lakers fan, Chargers fan, Rams fan,
Clippers.
Clippers. Well, the Clippers, I got mad at them.
Mm.
Once they tried to take over LA, I had a problem with that.
Take over and still not win.
Well, ownership. They thought they had ownership
Oh, boy.
without the responsibility of winning.
Man.
That was the problem with the Clippers.
Yeah.
All right.
good.
Like, follow, share. We had a good conversation. I want to invite you guys back next week. Let's finish this conversation about dating. Let's also talk about the responsibilities of husbands and wives, and
That's a good topic.
our perspective responsibilities, because even though we walk in the same role, we don't share the same responsibilities based off your life, based off my life. Because that big mansion you live in, I know you don't cut the grass.
No, I don't.
Can I borrow your grass guy? Because I got grass to cut over here.
Yeah, I have a grass guy. Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely got one.
I can't wait to get to the status you live in.
I tried to pay somebody to cut our grass, but
Oh, that's not happening.
Didn't do it right.
that's a man thing.
No, that's my son's responsibility.
Oh, well, send him to my house.
Yeah, that's what I said. He can definitely pick up that job.
No, what my wife doesn't understand is when I cut the grass, that's my time to myself.
Yeah.
And so I enjoy that time. And then when it was 4 hours cutting the front and the back, I was like, I gotta give me a ride lawnmower. I'm spending too much time with myself.
Right. I was done 2 hours ago.
Yeah. So I'm passing that responsibility to my 16-year-old.
Yeah,
but my 12-year-old son he wants to do it.
Yeah.
My daughter that's 14, they want to do it. It's like they're like,
hey,
like
pass it off.
So I'm trying to pass those things off. But
pass it off.
we had a good conversation. I want to thank you ladies for coming.
Yeah,
Miss Tanya, Miss Sherry, Mr. Prater.
Yeah.
We're going to continue this conversation. If you have any questions, you can shoot them to menofpromise2018 at Gmail, or you can call us. And since we're going to end, leave a message, 470-412-0917. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. It's not just a conversation, it's the essence of who we are. I like to joke and laugh and have fun in everything that I say. That's just me. Some people don't like ownership, but listen, I don't mind being owned.
And you own this podcast, so you can say what you want to say.
Exactly. Just like when I walk through the house of my door mouth, what I say, go. No. It is my podcast, but when you have guests on, you let them have the same ownership. And everything you guys say, is taken as perspective because everybody sees something different. So we're going to end this podcast. Thank you guys for joining us. If you have any questions, again, you have the email address. Again, like, follow, share. Thank you, Miss Tanya. Thank you, Miss Sherry, Mr. Ariel. Bishop in the booth. You've been quiet today. He back there drinking, so we probably won't hear him. So we're going to end this podcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.